So the other day, my father-in-law, as I've said before, my father-in-law is from Pakistan. He invited himself over pretty much with some curry and said, I'm going to watch the game with you. So he came over and decided to watch the LA Lakers versus the Indiana Pacers in the in-season tournament final. So I said, all right, come sit down. And this is the conversation that we had. Ben, I have a question for you. I said, yeah, what is it? Why is it that Mr. LeBron James, the king man, LeBron James, why is it that he has so many other names besides his real name of LeBron James? I said, what do you mean? He has like 25 nicknames, Ben. First of all, why do they call him King James? What is he, some sort of god? Is he some sort of messiah for basketball? What is the problem here? Then they have LBJ. What is LBJ? Is that some sort of curry? Is that some sort of beef? I don't know what LBJ is. And then why do they take away L and E from his name and just call him Bron? What is Bron? I don't think, is that sort of like a Levi's jean? Bron jeans? Like, what is going on here, man? Anyways, my name is Brendan. They don't call me King Brendan, just Brendan. So I'm going to leave now, take my curry home because I'm frustrated with LeBron James. Okay? So enjoy the podcast, say goodbye to my grandchildren, and give my daughter a hug. I love your podcast. Goodbye. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Sports Ethos Toronto Raptor podcast, and I'm your host at Hoopo, the Hoopo. And of course, I'm here with A.Rod, A-R-O-D, and Mr. Max P. You better pay me. And listen up, everybody. Listen up. We got a very, very, very special guest. We got a legend in the building. Let's go. Okay, everybody, stop for a second. I have an intro to do right here. You may not know who he is here in Canada because it's very cold and our Wi-Fi doesn't work all the time. But listen up, everybody. I'm going to describe his resume right now real quick. 20 plus years at Roto World NBC. Now he's at RotoWire, and listen up. I think he may have created NBA fantasy basketball with Rick Campbell. I don't know if that's true, but I think he may have actually created fantasy basketball. You can catch him on RotoWire right now. Besides Dan Brespris at Sport Ethos Fantasy Basketball Podcast, this is one of the best ones on air right now, the OGs with him and Rick Campbell, another legend. He's a writer, a contributor, and a columnist at the great ESPN, which we also don't get up here. It's not because of the Wi-Fi, it's just because of politics. Yes, you know who we're talking about. It's Dr. Motherfucking A, Steve Alexander. Salute! He's in the building. What's up, Steve? Dr. A, sorry, Doc.
Dude, I want to hang out with your father-in-law.
Oh, he's a trip, man.
Because my boys and I went to Johnny B's, which is a little sports bar in my hometown. Mm-hmm. And my sole purpose of going there was to sit down, not talk to anybody, and watch LeBron James, the king, whatever, and play against the Pacers on a Saturday night. And I walk in, and the first thing I see is this tall, drunk dude that I haven't seen in about 6 months. Yeah. Who decides it's time to sit me down and tell me how much he loves me for about 45 minutes. And I could not get him away from me. It was horrible. I'm like waving at his wife, like begging for help. I'm like throwing life rafts to my boys. I'm like, somebody come help me. And
did you know this guy?
Yes, I know him.
Oh, okay.
I've known him for a long time, but I haven't seen him in a minute. I also haven't seen him as drunk as he was at that particular moment. And he was like one of those unstoppable forces at that point.
He was happy to see you.
I finally threw like a stick over at the wall, and he got distracted, and I said, get away and watch the second half. So
man, all right,
aggressive drunk.
Well, I'll introduce real quick. This is A.Rod up top there, A-R-O-D from Toronto as well. And we got Mr. Max Prophet, who's also from Toronto. So you got 3 Toronto boys here. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk some Toronto. And before we started the show, everybody, I asked Dr. M, like, I'm pretty sure you didn't because I don't think it airs down there. But did you happen to watch the Charlotte-Toronto game? And he's like, nah. He's like, what's that, Friday?
But
I'm
I
like,
do,
yeah.
I do have the box score pulled up, and that's
Okay,
pretty
perfect.
That's pretty much how I watch NBA games. Yeah, I can look at the box score and figure out what happened.
Man. Okay, so what we usually do every game is we do one word. So one word to describe. So A-Rod, give me one word. Let me set the table first. It was Raptors 116, Hornets 119. It was a tight one. Give me one word, A-Rod, to describe this game. What'd you see?
Typical. Because it's typical Raptors. They lose to the really terrible teams. They beat the good teams. And even then, they'll come back. They'll make a game out of it, make you believe for 5 seconds they're going to win the game. And then afterwards, they just blow it in the end. So, typical.
Typical. All right, Max P, what do you think? I like that. Typical. It's true. Max P, what?
My word is because I've been wondering, is this team good enough? I've been wondering, are we just a kind of shitty team that is fooling us with a good game here and there? Yeah. That's my word.
my word, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Zach Galifianakis' stand-up at the Purple Onion years ago. He had this character called Seth Galifianakis, which is his twin brother. And his twin brother had this one word that he said during his interview. He's sitting there, and this is actually the picture of it, just so everybody on video can catch the vibe of this. And as he's getting interviewed, a saw is going off, a buzz saw is going off in the background, and he goes, "Oh, well that right there's a buzzkill." He goes, "Well, that right there, that's a buzzkill. See, I can make jokes. That's a buzzkill." So my word is buzzkill, but I like to just say it like that, buzzkill. So anyways, that's my word, because you know what? We were so close. I'm sorry, no, the Raptors. The Raptors were so close this game. They had a lot of fight, a lot of heart. I mean, we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets here, though, so I don't even know if that counts, but they did give it their all, and it was a buzzkill at the end. So that's that. Yeah.
I'll go with bricks.
Oh.
OG, Schroeder, and Gary Trent were what, 6 of 29?
6 of 55. Who knows? No, it's bad. It's Scotty Barnes. Let's go to positives, though. A-Rod, give me some positives. I will say quickly, Scotty Barnes, a triple-double, a big triple-double, 31, 10, 10, 2, and 1. Monster game, but they brought up a stat that every time he has had a triple-double, we lose by 3 or less points. It's crazy. Anyways, A-Rod, hit me.
That's a pretty specific stat, but I would say, you know what, if he's not steering the ship, I've been saying all season long, we're done. Terrible offense to watch. It is not easy on the eyes to watch the Raptors. No. And when Scotty is not there on the floor making the decisions for us,
we're done.
It's very unwatchable. I mean, kudos to him for always trying, being a good, advocate for playing hard, but again, it's typical at this point for the Raptors to be doing this. So I'm gonna stick with that.
What about you, Max? What positives did you see out of this, or what was your vibe?
The positive is out of the negative. It's clear our point guard play is below par, Our offense just got no direction, and there's no chain of command. And so that's a glaring weakness. Maybe that's sort of, it's pretty clear where we need improvement. So that's positive right there.
Well, Schroeder coming out of the last game where he was going baby Jordan continued into this one. He just can't hit a bucket right now. So I don't think this can last. I don't think this is sustainable. I think and I don't know if he got the green light from Darko, and Darko's like, just get out there and just be Germany. Be Germany. Just be German. I think that's what he did. He gave him the green light, but that's the wrong man to give the green light to. Anyways, Dr. A, I would love to get your take on, I don't know how much Raptors you've watched or how much you've sort of took in from this year, but what do you see, and with the Toronto Raptors and where they're at right now, or maybe an outlook of the future, maybe with trades or anything like that? What's just a quick kind of rundown what you've seen through, maybe in the fantasy lens, what you see with the Raptors?
I don't know if it's quick, but something is wrong, right? And whether that something being wrong is Dennis Schroeder being the point guard, which I think probably has a lot to do with what's wrong, because we didn't see OG Anunoby suck when Kyle Lowry was his point guard. Like, he was great. Like, OG Anunoby last year was like a 3rd round, 4th round player in fantasy, and now he's like a 10th, 11th round guy. And the only thing I see that's different is Schroeder being the point guard. So there's something there. And then the other thing is, like, does Toronto does that team have to be bad for Scotty Barnes to be great? Because we didn't see this Scotty Barnes.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We did not see Scotty Barnes.
Well, that's because Fred's gone. That's because Fred's gone and Nick Nurse is gone.
Anything like this, and now Scotty Barnes looks like a god. But
we treat him like a god up here too.
And Siakam does not look like Siakam looked last year, and OG Anunoby looks awful, and Gary Trent isn't doing what Gary Trent used to do. So it's like it's sad, because for Barnes to do well, apparently everybody else has to be bad. But I mean, to me, the major difference is Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry not there, and now Dennis Schroeder is there, and everything's falling apart.
Yeah. Anybody want to add to that, A.Rod? I could see that something was bubbling.
No, I was going to say that's a good point. I mean, when you lose those types of guards, you also lose a lot of leadership there as well too. I don't know if Dennis Schroeder's ever been a leader on any team minus the national team that he's on. He's normally been like a backup point guard, sometimes taking the starting role, popped off a few games here and there, but he's never been the lead guard for anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a good point that Doc's making.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And also, like, we have zero backup point guard play either. Like, for a minute there, Malachi was doing something, and all Toronto Raptor fans were just like, oh, finally, there it is. Darko did something. Darko woke this boy up, and it's gone.
That's what I was going to say. That's the other thing. Like, in terms of fantasy, Schroeder's locked in because there's nobody there. There's no one there to challenge him. So, like, for these drafts that we were doing in October, I'm like, I'm taking Schroeder the 8th or 9th round or 10th round, whenever, at the end of my draft, every time, because there's not a single other point guard to stop him from getting minutes in Toronto.
And you were smart,
I have him on my fantasy team, too. Yep.
Do you? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because of the same thing. Like, Schroeder's going to get all the playing time. There's nobody to challenge him.
Because that's the funny thing. A lot of pundits thought that Scotty was going to get the reins to be point guard, but even we all knew that wasn't going to happen. We all knew damn well they were not going to give the keys to Scotty to be the point guard. He let him run a little bit here and there, but he's not our point guard. We don't want him to be our point guard. So, yeah, Schroeder's it, which is scary. Well, boys, let's get out of this buzzkill and let's get into this segment, Doc. We like to call it this or that, but first we have to say, guys, I have a question here. I had a headache the other day, and my headache went into my thigh, and then it moved from my thigh to my ass. And I'm wondering, is it because I'm eating too much protein that I've been buying? Do you guys know of any other shops that I can get some cleaner protein? Because I don't like these headaches.
Let me think.
You guys
Popeye supplements.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course, Popeyes. Doc, you don't know about Popeye supplements, but that's the best supplement shop there is, and it's here in Toronto, Canada. And you can get anything. You can get your protein. You can get your greens powder. You can even buy eggs. You can buy fucking eggs, Doc. So everybody go out and get your protein. Go out and get your eggs at Popeye Supplements. And this is now This or That. All right, this or that, Doc. Let me do a quick rundown here. We compare two people. We could have two old Raptors and we put them up in a street fight, a fictitious street fight. Who would win that? And then so we do it like that, all right? So the first one here, we got a street fight. We got an old school Charlotte Hornets since we were in Carolina. And we got Larry Johnson, Grandmama, versus, and I was listening to your last podcast, Dr. A, so we're not doing a Raptor, we're doing an old school. We're doing Larry Johnson versus Karl Malone.
Woo-wee.
We got two OGs right here, big boys, heavyweights. So who do you got? We'll start with A.Rod. Who do you got, Larry Johnson or Karl Malone, A.Rod?
I go LJ, man. I don't trust anybody that played for the Jazz, man. I'm going LJ all day, man. Wasn't LJ in Space Jam also the original?
Yes, he was.
There you go.
The original,
Automatic lock in, man.
Yeah, he was with Muggsy. Muggsy was in there. All right, Max, who do you got? You got LJ or Karl Malone?
I'm gonna have to go with LJ because of UNLV. I think was the first cool basketball team I ever started following. It was UNLV, and then the Fab Five.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like Allen Iverson with Georgetown, but UNLV with Stacey Augmon and Larry Johnson.
What was their coach's name? Jerry Tartanian? Was that their coach?
Yep, with the towel.
Yeah, they were cool at the time. I had shorts and jersey and all that,
Yeah, Larry Johnson was a legend.
Yeah. So 2-0 for LJ, Larry Johnson. What about you, Doc? Who do you got, Karl Malone or Larry Johnson?
Forgive me if this takes 10 minutes for me to spit this out.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Do.
Please
First
do.
of all, the first cool basketball team I followed was Phi Slamma Jamma in Houston with Akeem.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
But I will give you UNLV was cool, and
Mm-hmm.
I had Final Four tickets in 1991 because I worked for the Final Four committee in Indianapolis, and North Carolina and UNLV were in the Final Four, and they were playing UConn and Duke. And
Wow.
UConn and Duke beat
Man.
North Carolina and UNLV, and I sold those tickets and did not go to the final game because I was so mad that I couldn't watch UNLV play. So there's that. Also, Larry Johnson hooked up with some girl that I worked with at a company called RCI back in 1990. I don't 93 maybe. And she got a voicemail from Larry, and we recorded it. We put it on speakerphone and recorded it on a tape recorder.
What did it say?
Pre cell phones, and he goes, "Hey baby, it's LJ." And
What did he say? Sorry. What did he say?
"Hey baby, it's LJ." And we thought that was so cool. Me and my buddies would walk around at all times saying, "Hey baby, I'm LJ."
Yes.
So, having said all that, and then Karl Malone actually did a pretty cool thing. Left me a pair of his shoes at the hotel front desk.
LA Gear?
No, they were Atonic Dreams.
Okay.
Atonic Dreams. His rookie season, he didn't have a contract. They were neutral. He colored. Well, I have it right here.
Oh man, that's amazing.
I've never even heard of those shoes. What are those?
Utonic, Utonic. I think maybe Elijah used to wear them too.
Yeah, they're Akeem shoes.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Atonic
Here, let me get it.
Let's see if we can get
Oh, wow, look at those.
Look, the
That's
monsters.
awesome.
Wow.
So these are he hand colored this with a Sharpie or whatever.
Oh yeah, he customized that himself?
He
That
customized
is
that
crazy.
himself. If you want to call it that. But it says "Best Wishes, Utah Jazz," and he signed it up here. But this rubber's all falling.
That is like the size of the width of your shoulders. That is crazy.
That is an amazing story.
That is an amazing story. That is a great
And he didn't even
statement.
go into it. The last pod I heard him, he went right into it. He was talking about he went to the hotel and the guy was like, oh man, he said, I wish they would have drafted you.
Yeah, I have 35 pairs of game worn shoes, and each one of them comes with a pretty insane story that seems unbelievable, in today's world. Like the fact that I was, and the funniest thing about that is, so I might as well just keep going with it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Please do.
So at the end of the night, Karl Malone told me before the game that he was going to give me his shoes. Okay. So I was all fired up. I'm like, I'm gonna get Mailman shoes, and I was a huge Mailman fan when he was at Louisiana Tech, and so he ditches me as I'm waiting outside the locker room, and all the Jazz players come out except for Karl Malone. I'm like, "Where's Mailman?" And they're like, "Oh man, he left a long time ago." I guess I'm not getting Carl's shoes. So I walked back to the Hyatt Hotel in Indianapolis with Rich Kelly, Bobby Hansen, and Mark Eaton.
Okay.
The four of us walking through the dark streets of Indianapolis on a Sunday night. These dudes all wanted to get food. I'm like 15 years old, and I'm just following back to the hotel,
chilling with Mark Eaton.
They're like, this town sucks, dude. Like, why is nothing open? And they're like banging on the doors of this restaurant. It's closed, and like, Rich Kelly kicks the door. He's like, this town sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of does. And Indianapolis is actually pretty cool now since they had the Super Bowl. You know, it's open container. You can walk around beer. Everything's open.
Oh wow!
Back then they called it Nap Town, and for a reason. So anyway, we get back to the hotel, and the bus is back at the hotel. I don't know why we were walking. They had a bus that could have taken them, but so the bus is there, and I'm watching the bus. And mailman doesn't get off the bus. I'm like, well, this is BS, man. And then all of a sudden, this black Mercedes pulls up, and I go over there, and they're like, your boy's in that car right there. And I go over there and knock on the window, and mailman rolls down the window, and I'm like, dude, mailman, what's up? And Wayman Tisdale is driving the car, so it's Wayman and mailman, and I just got done dissing Wayman the whole night earlier to mailman. And the Pacers should have drafted you. Wayman's trash. Blah, blah. So in any case, I'm like, dude, you said you were gonna give me your shoes, and mailman like holds his foot up, and he's actually got that shoe on his foot. He's wearing like street clothes. He's like, Wayman and I are going out right now, and I'm wearing those shoes out. He's like, they're the only pair of shoes I got. Who does that, dude? Nobody does that.
That's true. Nobody does that.
Don't even wear their game shoes out after the game.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
No. I'm like Charlie Brown. I put my head down. I'm all walking away like a sad little kid in a Mean Joe Green Coke commercial. He's like, hey kid, and I'm like, what? He's like, what's your name?
What?
And I said Steve. And he goes, I'm gonna leave these shoes at the front desk for you. You come get them tomorrow. And
What a G.
I was like, okay. And I'm like, right. To myself. So I called down there the next day, got the phone book out, the yellow pages, the
yellow pages.
Man, yep.
Wow.
And the girl answered. I was like, is there a huge pair of shoes there for a guy named Steve? And she goes, yes.
So he did leave them there. Carl is a G for that, man.
And even though he did that, cool thing for me, I'm taking LJ in a street fight over Karl Malone all day.
Are you really?
Hey, let's go, LJ. Hey,
all right, so that's so far 3-0 for LJ. So I'm gonna make this quick then on my end.
Sorry,
Karl. No, because it's easy for me. No, not because of that. I could. You keep going. Larry Johnson. I'm going Karl Malone. You want to know why I'm going Karl Malone? Because you remember when he was in, rest in peace, Kobe. But you remember when he was in LA and he's like, didn't he pretty much tell Kobe, yeah, I fucked your wife? Didn't he say that?
He wanted to. He told Kobe that he wanted to.
Yeah, he wanted to. Any man who has balls like that, I'm not messing with. I don't care if I'm Larry Johnson. I don't care who I am.
They didn't win that year, did they?
I don't even know. I think
he blew the team up with that stuff, man.
He probably did, exactly. So I'm not messing with a guy like that. That type of guy, and he's jacked too. Like, he's just jacked.
Oh yeah, so Karl Malone is super jacked, bro. Like bodybuilder jacked, bro.
Yeah, like he made John Stockton look like a little like a youth group leader. Like, just like, you know what I mean? Like this tiny little child beside him. But anyways, no, I'm going Karl Malone. So 1 for Karl and 3 for Larry. So Larry wins. Ding, ding.
Ding.
All right, next one. This one I thought it's kind of fun. So who's the more disappointing draft pick between the Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets here? First, we got Adam Morrison. Ooh. All right? Yeah, Adam Morrison. So it was the Bobcats, but it's still the Hornets.
It's going to be tough to beat.
Charlie Villanueva for the Raptors.
Oh, that's
All right. So, and no disrespect to Charlie. No disrespect. I thought he was all right. But Adam Morrison or Charlie V? A.Rod, who do you got?
Charlie. Like Doc said, it's way too tough to beat. Or not Charlie, sorry.
Yeah.
Adam Morrison. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam Morrison in college was absolutely filthy. He was considered next level. So when he came in, the expectations were already crazy high. And I don't even know how many seasons this guy lasted. He must have lasted, what, like 2 or 3?
That's the thing I can't even
of, like,
remember.
Prominence?
Yeah.
I don't even know. But
What about you, Doc? Who do you got? You got Adam Morrison or Charlie Villanueva?
It's Adam Morrison in a landslide.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Max P?
Definitely Adam Morrison. But I wasn't a believer, though. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't, like, shocked when he didn't work out in the NBA. He was the one that was crying on the court when he lost, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
That's all I remember, too, pretty much.
Yeah. It wasn't, like, a good memory to sort of have him going into the draft. So I wasn't really expecting much. But
What was it that killed him? Was it injuries? I can't even remember now. Like
Pretty sure it was injuries, but I also remember he used to take insulin also as well too.
he's a diabetic.
But that was the first player I remember that was something for me as a young guy seeing that and being like, oh, I don't even know what that is, you know? And
Okay.
I remember that.
He lasted. I think he lasted 2 years.
Man.
2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Maybe it was more. It was 4.
Yeah,
What
but it was
pick?
like he went downhill so quickly. I think he was 3rd overall.
That's what I was going to ask. What pick was he?
Yeah.
He was 3rd? That's a huge pick.
Hornets, Lakers, Hornets, Lakers. Like I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
It was weird, but yeah, he was crying on the court, and then he was like a top 3 pick, and the most points he ever averaged, I think, was 11.8 as a rookie, and then from there he just disappeared. Like it's almost like.
That's
Almost
crazy.
almost like a ghost. Like it was
Yeah.
Wow.
He
Charlie,
had that really bad hair and really bad mustache.
you know what's funny though? You look at that picture now. He looks like somebody to be in the league now, though. You know what I mean? Like
You kind of like that Ashton
but
Kutcher, like that 70s show kind of look.
Well, you know what, Charlie? I want to give. I actually was gonna take him off of here, but I just like I didn't. But Charlie actually did have some good moments for the Raptors, and I feel like I'm disrespecting him by putting him up here with Adam Morrison. I shouldn't have did that, but yeah, I don't actually know why I did that, but because he actually did all right. He ended up in Dallas.
Charlie was, you know, he had lots of potential, and he played all right sometimes.
You know what I think it was? I think it was because of draft night. I remember personally, I wanted Gerald Green. But they took Charlie Villanueva, and I think it just stuck with me that was a disappointment to me, and he couldn't do anything that was going to make me happy. So, anyways,
you should have put Adam Morrison up against a snack-sized bag of Cheetos.
That's all you get. A half-empty Pepsi. Yeah. All right, let's get out of that one. So I did a little research here. This one's the last one for our segment of this and that. I did a little research. I wanted to see, because we touch on music too. So wherever Raptors are playing, like, all right, what type of music that we got there? So I was like, you know what? I did a little research on the state of Carolina, and a lot of legends have come out of Carolina, the state of Carolina. And so I wanted to see. Yeah, musically. A lot of music has come out of there, and a lot of sports has come out of there. So I'm going to mix the two, and this is what it is. Out of all these legends that have come out of the state of Carolina, I want you to tell me, who do you think had the most drama in their life when they had to come back from tour or come back from the road, had problems with the lady, had problems with the wifey, with the baby mama? Like, who had the most drama at home? Jodeci? James Brown. The best basketball player ever to play the game, MJ, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Or, lastly, a country legend in Randy Travis.
Hey, Randy Travis is from North Carolina.
Look at this picture. Yeah, he's from the state of Carolina. I didn't know
from the state of Carolina, okay.
Yeah, not from Charlotte. But so all these people. So we got Jodeci, James Brown, Michael Jordan, and Randy Travis. Who do you think out of those four had the most problems in the home just like they were just dirty. They were out just not doing good. Who do you think? Go ahead, A.Rod.
Hey, I'm gonna roll with James Brown, man. I actually took a music class in university, and we touched a little bit on James Brown and his very dedicated and disciplined ways of doing music. And oddly enough, we came across this funny story where he used to actually fine his band members while they were playing live if he heard a mistake while they were playing.
Yeah. Call them out.
Yeah, he would call them out live, like very subtly, and then he would dock them from their pay, like if they made a mistake playing the tunes.
He would dock them pay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He'd make them like hit
So
me 3
anybody
times.
like that, man, I don't even have to know about the lady issues or anything else going on. Anybody like that, I'm going with, man.
He's got doing the splits. He's like, oh man, okay. So you're going with James Brown. How about you, Doc? You got Jodeci, James Brown, Michael Jordan, or Randy Travis?
I'm gonna go with James Brown, dude, because James Brown. Well, he was in that era, when it was all cocaine and it was all like people just did whatever they wanted to do, especially rock stars. Sure, he had probably had that policy in place, like, hey, when I get off the plane, I want no one making eye contact with me. Like total diva behavior. For sure. All hopped up on coke, doing lewds, like freaking chasing it down with Jack, and I all day, James.
It's almost no question when you put it that way. Yeah. All right. So 2-0 for James Brown. Max P. Who do you got?
Part of me wants to go with the country singer.
Randy Travis.
But Randy Travis just seems like too straight and narrow, man. He just seems too. I just can't see any drama there.
Nah, he looks like a cocaine Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, James Brown's the obvious one, and I gotta go with James Brown. Like, I remember that car chase. I remember there was this wild car chase he had.
Yeah.
Not too long before he died. It was just the craziest story I ever heard.
You remember him on CNN? I think he was with Larry King, and he had these glasses that were the size of his face, and they were tinted. They're like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas glasses, and he was just out of his mind. Just on so much yayo from Colombia, he couldn't even hold it back. His nose was dripping. There was a little blood in there, too. He's just like, He just ready to do the splits right there on Larry. So I have to agree with all of you that you just can't settle that tiger down when it gets home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how good your lady is at home at cooking and cleaning and keeping you straight and narrow. No. James Brown, look at this. Like, James Brown is going to be James Brown. So, yeah, I had him or Randy Travis. The reason I put Randy Travis because I grew up with some guys like this up Northern Ontario. And these guys, you got to be careful with these guys.
That's what I'm saying.
These cowboys, yeah, you got to be careful with these guys because they will take your wife home and tell you about it. You know what I mean? Because they'll put them on a horse and take them for a little horse ride and feed the horse later. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, she comes home in one of his tank tops. It's just, anyways, all right, James Brown 4-0. That was easy. All right, so let's get out of that. That was this and that. I think we have some time. Let's go around the NBA. Let's touch on a couple little things. First of all, anything that's grabbed your attention around the NBA. I know last night the Lakers won the in-season tournament. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that, but I think we could talk about the Pistons and their 19 straight, whatever. What's caught your attention?
It's 19?
It's 19 now.
Eesh.
They need to move them to Windsor.
In-season tournament. That was a success, man. I hope next year they market it a little bit better, get more people involved in it. But overall, man, it was fantastic to watch competitive basketball in December. Because I saw guys diving on the floor, going for blocks, making plays, doing all the fundamentals. It was awesome. Like, I had a good time with it.
Yeah, it was. And Hallie for MVP for me. Hallie or Shea is my MVP. Anyways, what about you, Doc? What has grabbed your attention around the NBA right now that seems to be sticking out?
The tournament won me over once they got to the single elimination games. Like the pool play for me was kind of boring. Mm-hmm. It didn't really change much. I think teams are just going out there and playing and seeing what would happen. Yeah. Obviously, the Lakers and Pacers both went undefeated in pool play, and they were the two best teams in the tournament. So I guess the pool games were important, but I really liked it when it mattered, and it was one and done. What I didn't like is no fantasy hoops on Sunday, or last week. Like they take away the last day of the week, 2 weeks in a row. I did not enjoy that. I don't like, I hate All-Star Week when there's only 2 games or 1 game, and then this tournament week there were only 2 games. We didn't even know the schedule until right beforehand. So hopefully they come up with a plan to address some of that next year. But Adam Silver doesn't give a crap about fantasy. Managers. Poor babies didn't get basketball on Sunday. Let them watch football. Yeah. I don't care.
They didn't pick up Case and Wallace. Oh, sorry.
So there's that, and then this whole the whole Pistons losing 19 games in a row is only slightly more interesting than the Spurs losing 16 games in a row, despite Wemby going for 20 and 20 on Friday, the youngest guy to ever do it.
Wow!
And I don't know how you have a player as good as Wemby and lose 16 games in a row, because they're just like the Mavericks. I mean, the only guy the Mavericks have is Luka, but they're out there winning, tons of games. And I think Pop's doing a special little Pop tank. As a going away present to all of us when he retires.
Well, I mean, putting Sohan at the point, I mean, right there, like, okay, there's a nice little recipe to get some losses. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We know what you're doing. Well, speaking on the Pistons 19 straight, it's talking about coaches. Like, what is Monty doing when you talk about rookies like Wemby? Like, I have probably Wemby winning Rookie of the Year, and then Chet real close. But you had Asar Thompson on Detroit who was just looking like he was in the top 3, and now he's getting 10 minutes a game the last few games. He's not even playing, and what's going on here? What do you think? We talk about tanking. What is Monty doing? Is it a case of that he's just trying to change the culture or change the vibe? Like, what do you guys think? Like, what's going on here? Like, is it just me? Is he just trying to lose?
I don't know what he's doing, dude, because he brings Bojan Bogdanovic back. Everybody knows what he can do. There's no reason to develop Bojan Bogdanovic. He should not be playing for a team that has 2 wins and has all these kids on it. He should be in the locker room and on the bench helping Monty coach that team. Jaden Ivey should be a friggin' superstar on that
100% agree with you on that. Yep.
James Wiseman should be playing 30 minutes on that team, former number 2 pick or whatever. And Asar Thompson, like you said, like when they let him play, he looks like an absolute monster in the making. Let him play. I don't know what Monty's doing.
I don't know. I think he's trying to get a first-class ticket to Windsor. It's going to be the Windsor Pistons. I think
they have too much deadwood on the team, though, with some of the bigs they got going on there.
Bagley.
Like when you got Bagley on there, Stewart, I don't know where Stewart's going to be. I think he got rewarded a contract recently, but I don't know if he's the guy for the future. It's just too many guys I feel like they have, and they don't really know what to do with each one. So it's tricky.
And the crazy thing is you paid Monty like $250 million. You know what I mean? Like, you paid him $70 million, whatever. I'm just exaggerating, of course. But it's like, what can you do as ownership? You have to be like, well, all right, Monty, bench Asar Thompson. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? So, anyways, I really do hope they get it together, because I love Piston fans. We're close to Detroit up here in Toronto, so we're kind of Detroit and Toronto. Like, if you ever watch Detroit Piston games when the Raptors are there, it's almost like a home game for the Raptors.
It's definitely a home game for the Raptors.
It's wild. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's get out of there. I don't know if we have some time. If you have something that you could share with us before we go, Dr. A. But I watched on your last episode on the RotoWire podcast, you're doing the brush with greatness, a little segment you were doing, and that was the Karl Malone story. I don't know if you have maybe another little tiny one that you could give us, that a brush with greatness that has come about some of your days of being around the NBA, and maybe you could spill us a story.
I've got a feel good story about a dude named Lorenzo Romar. Now, Lorenzo, I had my thing pulled up here. Let me pull this up.
Is that the coach from the Huskies?
Yep. Yeah, he used to play for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
Then he coached. He's probably most famous for coaching the Washington Huskies.
Mm-hmm.
But so back when I was a kid in Indianapolis, talking about shoes again. I was at a
Why not?
I was at a Pacer game, and Ralph Sampson threw
Mm-hmm.
his wristband into the crowd, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I got to get me a wristband. I got to figure out how to do this. So then I started collecting wristbands, and then one day I saw this kid walking through the arena with a huge pair of basketball shoes, and I was like, "Whose are those?" He goes, "Steve Stepanovich," and he was the center for the Pacers back in the day. And I'm like, "How'd you get those?" He's like, "I just asked him." I was like, "Oh my god!" my whole life
I just
changed.
asked.
My whole life changed in those 5 seconds of talking to this little kid. So I decided my new goal in life was to get a game-worn pair of NBA player shoes. I didn't care who it was. I didn't care what kind of shoes they were. I just wanted a pair of shoes. Yeah. And so Lorenzo Romar gets off the elevator on January 17th of 1984. And I'm the only dude there, first of all, for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm having players sign a piece of paper, and maybe a Sports Illustrated cover or two. But Lorenzo gets off the elevator. I'm like, "Hey, Lorenzo," and he's like shocked that I know who he is. We're about the same height, and I go, "Hey, man, do you think I could get your shoes after the game?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'll give them to you." Yeah, nobody's ever asked me for my shoes before. This is a huge honor for me. I'm thinking that's what he was thinking. So, anyway, he comes out of the locker room after the game. Back then, man, in '84, you could just stand right outside the locker room, and the players would walk right out.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just right there. There's no security.
Wow. Yeah. There's no security. Wow.
There's no security. There's no entourage. There's no there's no cops.
So was there a bunch of groupie girls outside there too?
No, there were groupie girls. They're me and my buddy that were trying to get shoes. Like, that's it. And people were like, "Are you a groupie?" Like when I would tell these stories, like when I was younger, they were like, "Why were you stalking NBA players? Like, were you some sort of groupie? Like, that's weird." No, it actually, I got really cool stories out of it. But yeah, I guess
exactly.
So Lorenzo Romar comes out, hands me his shoes. I got him over there. I'm not gonna bust him. I don't know. I got him over there, and he signs both of them. And I'm like, "Thank you so much, Lorenzo. That was awesome." And he's like, "You're welcome. See you next time," or something. He gets on the bus. My mom is waiting. It's midnight. She's waiting down there. It's Indiana in January. It's like it is in Toronto in January. It's cold as shit.
I respect how you say Toronto, by the way. You say Toronto correctly. You say Toronto, Toronto. Continue. Didn't want to cut you off. Nice. I appreciate that.
And so then this is where the story gets a little weird. Is I decided that I was going to write him a thank you letter for giving me his shoes. And so I sat down. It was the night of the Super Bowl. The Eagles were playing the Raiders, I think, that year. And I'm watching the Super Bowl. I'm writing this letter to "Dear Lorenzo, thank you for the shoes. I'll never sell them. That was really cool. Whatever." And I don't know where to send it, so I send it. I find the Bucks post office box or something. I just send it off to the Milwaukee Bucks. And so Lorenzo's coming back to town 2 months later, and I'm in the Hyatt again, and this time I brought my mom in with me because I wanted her to meet my new best friend, right, Lorenzo Romar. So my mom and I are sitting in the shoe shine stand chairs that they've got outside the elevator. Elevator opens up, Lorenzo comes out, and I walk up to him. I'm like, "Lorenzo," he's like, "Hey, Steve." He's like, "I got your letter." I'm like, "You did?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I can't believe you wrote me a letter." And I was like, "A thank you letter." I was like, "Well, I did." He's like, "Did your mom make you do that?" I go, "No, I did it on my own." He goes, "Is this your mom?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Come here." And he pulls my mom over. He goes, "You raised a good kid right here.
Oh,
This kid wrote me a thank you letter on his own." And she's like, "Yeah, I guess." She didn't know what was going on. And he's like, you raised a good one. And he's like, pleased to meet you, da da da. And I was like, play good tonight, Lorenzo. And he walks off. And then we got back in the car and went home. But I thought that was a pretty cool story.
I think we all need to give a big salute to Lorenzo for that one, because that's cool.
Big salute to Lorenzo.
Oh, man. That's a cool story. I like that. Well, you know what? Let's quickly, we got the Raps. We always do next game. Let's do a quick prediction. And I know political pundits don't like to predict, but in NBA we like to predict for gambling. So let's do this. Raps are at the Knicks tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Max P, who do you got? Real quick, who do you got?
This time we getting them. This time we're getting them. We're not playing around. We're not getting punched in the mouth anymore. No. And we're going to figure something out at point guard. I have no idea what it is, but we're going to figure something out over there.
All right, so we got Raps with Max. Okay, A.Rod, who do you got, buddy?
I'm going to go with the Raps. I'm going to have Julius Randle shoot 3 air balls, helping us get out in transition. And helping us get a win out there.
I actually agree. I think and usually I don't pick the Raps, but I think the Raps got this one because I believe Jalen Brunson is out. I think he hurt his ankle. And, I don't know if that's true, but if he's out,
he did hurt his ankle.
Yeah,
and he was mad about it. Like when he
shouldn't have been out there.
Like he was hitting stuff. It was it's not good. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't Tom Thibodeau kind of strike you as a guy that has a lazy boy at home that has cigarette buttholes in it? There's just rips all in it, and he's just a miserable wreck. Just smells. It reeks of beer and liquor. Yeah.
6 cats, a sheet over the sofa.
Just smells like cat piss in his house, and it's just like he's got old pictures of his Bulls days that have this cracked glass because he doesn't like to think about those days, and he's just it's just a miserable home.
And there's pizza boxes and beer cans piling up for days.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time to take out the trash because he's putting together this mad.
It's just pure madness. Yeah. Anyways, I always think that when I see him on the side, I'm like, this guy is crazy. And you know what? If I played for that team and I heard him, because you can always hear him over the broadcast.
Yeah, you can hear him yelling.
It's like, oh my God!
He's a football coach.
I don't want to play for this guy. Anyways, Dr. A,
we were talking about that with Julius Randle the other day. What's wrong with Julius Randle? He's probably sick of getting yelled at by Tom Thibodeau.
100%. I'd be terrified to play for him, and I have some confidence. I would be terrified to play for him.
He is a short-term coach, though. You can't have him for more than a few years.
No, he's been there for how long has he been there now? He's been there for a while now.
A minute.
Yeah.
2 years at least, 3.
Yeah. Okay, Doctor, we got to end it here, but I want to let you give them a check. Where can everybody find you? I know I said it at the jump. You're at RotoWire, but please shout out where you're at, because I really think that people who are listening right now, if you haven't took a listen to Dr. A, this guy right here, him and Rick Kamla's podcast on fantasy basketball called The OGs, I believe it's called. The first episode, by the way, was incredible. And Rick Kamla, I don't know how much coffee that guy drinks, but it's incredible. I love Rick Kamla. He's a legend. This guy is just screaming at his mic, and it's just, you guys have a real good thing going on. And I suggest everybody please go take a listen. But where can they find you, Doc? And let them know.
Yeah, so man. Tuesday mornings at 11, we go live. Kamla and I are live. No, is that Thursday? No, that's Thursdays. Thursdays at 11. We're live on the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Tuesdays at 11 is my show with a special rotating guest. I don't know who's on.
By the way, that one you had of that rock star guy who's talking about his bus trip where he got left at that's a great story, man.
Oil spot or
oil
spotted or whatever. That was Ryan from Guster, the drummer for the band Guster. But so Tuesdays at RotoWire, I do my show with a rotating guest, and then I've got stuff on ESPN Fantasy for basketball and football. And I'm starting this new. I'm with this new company, this new app called Did It, DIDIT. I haven't launched it yet, but you can hit me up on Did It and talk
Did
with me
it.
one-on-one. It's like a video chat, one-on-one. You pay like $1 a minute or something, but you can show me your
Sounds like a 1976 number, Doc. Hey, what kind of business you in right now? Come straight to Dr.
Show me your roster on your phone and ask me questions.
That's
cool.
Okay.
Super cool.
And it sounds like it went very well for football. So I'm excited to launch that as soon as I get my voice back. And then the last thing I want to say to you guys is you all remind me of the Saturday Night Live skit, The Bears, back in the day.
The Bears. Yeah, the Raps. I mentioned to my 16 team. I hate points league, and I don't know why I joined, but it's a 16-team points league that I joined in my neighborhood, and I mentioned it. And I'm saying the next episode's coming with this guy, Doctor. I don't know if you guys know, but please, he's a legend. Blah blah blah. This guy sent me this. He goes, "No, I read his thing on ESPN." And he puts that in the group chat. So he is known amongst the even up here in Canada. That's my point. So, but everybody who's listening, please go check out Did It. Go check out RotoWire. Go check out the OGs. Go check out Dr. He's on Twitter too. I believe it's at Doc DOCKTORA. If I might be, is that it?
Doctor, a female nurse. Dr. A was gone, so I had to go with the next best thing. It still says Dr. A, just in a weird ass way.
Well, Doc A, thank you so much, man. Let's give him a big salute, boys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Doc.
for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. And the city of Toronto and the whole country says thank you very much, my friend.
Yes.
And this was another episode of the Toronto Raptors podcast, the Sports Ethos Toronto Raptor podcast. And I'm your host, as usual, the El Hoopo, HOOPO, with A.Rod, A.R.O.D, and of course, Max P. And today was a classic, wasn't it? We had Doc A in the building. And like I said, go check out where he can be found. And he already told you. And if you weren't listening, get your ears cleaned out, you bitch, yo.